Good evening. Chet Huntley reporting.
Presented by Listerine, the antiseptic that kills germs on contact by millions. The 62 Rambler, the most popular Rambler ever built. And by U.S. Rubber Tire Company, makers of new U.S. Royal tires with CVC. Tonight, Daytona Beach, where the boys went.
Daytona Beach, Florida, is a city of almost 40,000. 7,000 of them are more than 65 years old. Most of their year is spent in relative peace and calm, the mood they sought when they first came to settle in a town whose main income derives from retired couples and passing tourists. This, too, is Daytona Beach, but only during 4 weeks of the year. After midterm exams are over and spring arrives, the college student gets a recess from school. Instead of traveling home, he migrates elsewhere. This year, one of his sanctuaries was Daytona Beach, sunny, warm, free, and 23 miles long.
Let's do it, actress.
Never guess about your breath. Always be sure. Use Listerine. Anytime, anywhere, anybody can have bad breath. Most bad breath is caused by germs in mouth and throat. And Listerine Antiseptic combines more active ingredients to kill germs in mouth and throat than any other leading antiseptic. Listerine stops bad breath fast, sure, instantly. Keeps breath fresh hours on end because it kills germs on contact by millions. You can actually feel it working. Never guess about your breath. Always be sure. Use Listerine.
Increasingly in recent years, college students have been spending their Easter vacations at beach resorts. There are about a dozen favored towns, but the most famous is Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the institution apparently started around an annual intercollegiate swimming meet. Fort Lauderdale has had a book written about it and a movie made from the book, and last spring many newspaper articles about trouble, riotousness, and a great deal of smirking about implied immorality. Well, this year, Daytona Beach, Florida, another of the towns favored for Easter vacations, set out consciously to recruit some of the students who might feel unwelcome in Fort Lauderdale. Activities were planned for them, and the police were instructed to treat them firmly but gently. They were encouraged to occupy rooms by 4s and even 6s, so the privacy which temptation requires might be destroyed. Perhaps 20,000 came. Our crew, after spending 2 weeks with them, found they drank prodigious amounts of beer and danced the twist interminably day and night. Neither of these appeals to older eyes as a particularly aesthetic activity, but neither is especially shocking.
It's like a bunch of Saturday nights up at school, all pushed into one. It's just one long week, or as long as you want to take off, of fun.
It almost seems as though the students arrive doing the twist. They awake in the morning to the strains of a raucous twist band bleeding out a sound that only this age group appreciates. And they dance here at the side of a pool behind a motel for as much as 10 hours a day. Acrobatic, alone, to each other, but never with each other. They rarely touch, and the most they do is suggest. The twist is much too strenuous to be as wicked as it looks. The city of Daytona Beach extended a subtle hand in underwriting what its publicists call a college festival. The city council gave $12,000 for entertainment, lining up well-known musicians to entertain the students at night. Any profits the city makes will go for scholarships to the Daytona Beach Junior College, where the idea was conceived by a small group of students who felt they knew best how to treat visiting undergraduates. Students of Daytona Beach Junior College served as official hosts and hostesses during the 4-week period. For those 4 weeks, they twisted. Not all of them, but most of them. There were other activities available. There was a golf course nearby, surfboarding was available, and a few students took midnight cruises, but these were lost in the crowd. which gyrated, bounced, flopped, and wiggled. They rarely experienced blisters, they never complained of backaches, and the average student kept up this phenomenal pace for at least 5 days. Only when they stopped dancing did some of them realize they were hungry and in need of food. There is no other industry except tourism in Daytona Beach, but Daytona Beach has never known a tourist like the college student. The radio stations in the area, in cooperation with the state of Florida, played and replayed a taped message by Governor Bryant welcoming the students. He tried to establish an atmosphere of good cheer rather than one of gloom and fear that usually accompanies the arrival of traveling students.
This is Farris Bryant, Florida's governor. To the college students who have selected our Sunshine State for their spring vacation, I want to say a very special welcome. We look on Florida as a state of eternal youth, and we want to do all in our power to make you feel the very real pleasure we feel at your presence. We hope that along with your Florida tan, you'll take back to class warm memories of this visit and a sense of anticipation for your next stay with us.
After unpacking, they drank beer, the one beverage they could afford in large quantities on $20 a day or so, part of which must go for rent. There were swimming pools, there was lots of sun, Generally, the early part of the day was spent in preparation for the more serious enjoyment of their vacation, which is more intense but otherwise little different from what they might do on the campus or at home. But the question remained, why were they all here?
All I can say is a change of pace. It's really good. I mean, just see the palm trees instead of the old Kentucky hills in the snow. It's just really great.
Because I didn't want to stay home this week and be bored, there's tears and everything, just to get away from it.
Well, this is the only break we have during the spring semester, and it gets pretty boresome studying all the time. And so I primarily came south just to soak up the sun and try to have a good time.
Well, I'll tell you, because of the weather, one, and Florida itself is a party state.
The people try to make you feel at home here, and as long as you observe by the police department rules and regulations, the people will treat you just as nice as they would treat anybody else.
Well, I think as long as you're down here with an adult frame of mind, everything's going to go okay. You just got to behave yourself, that's all.
Well, I've been walking around town with a beer. Oh, gracious. and they've been very friendly. And I've gone on the streets of Daytona and talked to policemen and half sort of high. And they've been very nice, really. They've been friendly. And they're very nice.
The rooms here are real reasonable. For instance, you can have 4 people in a room, and in certain motels they range from different prices. Some nights, some motels, they can be $3 per person a night.
Well, we're eating in the room. We've got a little apartment. It's an efficiency, and we're eating in the room, cooking everything. We've got a stove and refrigerator, buying things in the supermarket. We haven't eaten out yet.
We're not down here to sleep. We came down here to really raise some cane and get away from school. We're tired of studying and shaving and showering every day. Books?
We don't want any more of that mess.
I sleep in the mornings.
From 6 to 9 is when we get our sleep, and that's it. Up all night.
What you do down here, you don't have enough money to eat and drink both, so you eat one day and then you drink one day, and then, well, today, now I'm eating and drinking both. Tomorrow I might just be drinking. You can't afford to do both all the time.
Daytona Beach calls itself the world's most famous beach. Its hard, fine sand is perfect for driving, and more people spend their time trying to get out of traffic jams than swimming in the pleasant waters. Whenever the traffic got too jammed, the college students found another opportunity to get out of their cars, congregate, meet new arrivals, and do the twist. The police were always close by. Throughout history, boy has always managed to meet girl. Here, the convertible, a sunny day at the beach, a speed limit of 10 miles an hour, a carload of boys and one of girls. Only the outward signs were different. For some, sometimes some exercise. A big reason no serious trouble developed in Daytona Beach was a city ordinance permitting beer drinking on the beach. Fort Lauderdale and other resorts allow no drinking in any public place. The students felt this city was on their side, even though the law was on the books long before they arrived. The students felt they were being treated as adults, equals in fact and under law, and they therefore rarely attempted to overstep their bounds. Most of their drinking, and some drank up to 30 cans of beer a day, was confined to the beach. They didn't always twist. They danced something called the Hully Gully and something else called the mashed potato. They didn't always dance. They drank beer and they talked and talked and talked, almost always about themselves, about each other, about their generation. They rarely talked politics, and they never drank anything expensive. And there was talk.
Our report continues in a minute after this message.
Hey, what's cooking over this weekend?
We'd like to buy a Rambler this weekend.
Heard about our weekend special deal? With big Rambler savings waiting for you this Friday night and Saturday, too.
Gee, it sounds real good.
But we're not quite set. Our 62 Rambler is the best one yet. In October, November, and December, too, Rambler sales broke records right straight through. In January, February, on into spring, so many people bought Ramblers, we wanted to sing.
We're both sold on Rambler, don't you see?
It's just getting to agree with me. A wagon is sound.
A convertible smooth.
A sedan may be our best move.
Rambler's weekend special will do the trick. You'll save on any model you happen to pick. On sedans and wagons and convertibles, too. On V8s and 6s, any 62. Drop in Friday night, Saturday, too. Your Rambler dealer's got big savings for you. And compromise. Let her pick the color.